I still love my dad after all of this. I mean, he's the only one I'll ever have. But you might have a hard time believing me once this post is over. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Let me start by saying I only went into the stupid attic looking for some photos of myself as a toddler for journalism class. We were supposed to bring in our old baby photos, but I don't have any of those. My dad told me when I was about 12 that the year I was born, our first family home caught on fire while my sleeping mother and all of our belongings were inside. I had no grandparents on either side of my family tree, so he says, which meant there were also no copies of the photos to really give out. As I typed this, I realized how odd that sounds. Come to think of it, my stepmother never had any family either. Just close friends from the neighborhood or church. I was just looking for my toddler photos, the closest baby photos that should exist of me. I first located the big green Rubbermaid full of family photos wedged between old baby clothes and cringy homemade Christmas ornaments from over the years. I pulled the green behemoth out of its spot and was about to walk down the stairs with it when I found a photo box labeled with the same year I was born, shelved in the space behind it on the floor. I nearly missed it, but a loose nail caught my pant leg and forced me to look at the spot. At first, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was amazed. I was astonished we never knew we had this precious box of my long-forgotten infant memories, but now all I can think about is how stupid I was not to wonder how the hell we had it if it was supposed to be burned to ash. I grabbed it quickly but slowed down once I realized the fragile state it was in. I opened the lid to a tattered box, eager to hopefully see baby photos of myself for the first time, and maybe even my mother. Most were Polaroids, and they were the ones I first picked up. But as I just quickly dropped the damn things, they were all naked photos of women. I picked up the mess I made by dropping them. About to shove them in a box and forget all about my findings of my dad's homemade pornography collection. When I recognized one of the young, pretty faces in the stack. She was definitely my stepmother, many, many moons ago. The way my dad tells it, he met my stepmother when she was 25. But that doesn't really make sense with this photo, as she couldn't have been more than 18 when it was taken. Or at least I hoped. That made my head hurt to think about. But I knew I had to keep looking. There was no way my dad only kept porn in a box that was labeled with the year I was born and my mom died. I turned the Polaroids away from my eyes, cursing my dad for having such filth so easily accessible, and took out the rest of the photos, which looked to be professionally developed, yet still old. That's when I saw them. My baby photos. All wispy-haired and splotchy-faced, being held by a woman I didn't know. We had the same hair color, but nothing more. She looked happy to be holding me, and I seemed content. I had never seen my mother's face before now, yet it was still familiar to me. I couldn't quite figure out why. I began sorting through the photos, most of them of me and my parents. I was about to just take a few pictures I liked, when I came upon a picture that just sent me spiraling. It was baby me being held by my stepmother, again looking no older than 16. I tried telling myself maybe she was a very young-looking person, that all the girls I saw were just extremely youthful. But once I saw the family photo, I stopped pretending there was a reasonable explanation. My mother wore a blue retro dress, my father in his service uniform. I wore some dorky little outfit with suspenders. And there stood my stepmother in braces and a red dress of white polka dots. I was on the verge of vomiting when I noticed news clippings in the bottom of the box. The headline talking about a mother being murdered in a house fire. I slowly pulled it from the box, ready for the last piece of the puzzle to fall in place. My poor mother had been tied to her bed and burned alive in her first family home. Police said it was most definitely arson. And who was their prime suspects? That's right, my father. However, they don't think he acted alone. Neighbors detailed a somewhat inappropriate relationship between my father and their oldest child, my sister, whose picture in the paper cemented my suspicion. Officials were beginning to investigate my father, suspecting him of raping and murdering several teenage girls in the area, which prompted them to kill my mother and flee. The article goes on to include that they had most likely taken me on their run from the police, and eventually we settled into our lives. I'm not sure what to do now. Okay. I know what the right thing to do is, but the bottom line is, I'm not sure I'm ready for our family to fall apart. I could go to police with the photos of the women, but this is my family. No, not women, girls. I don't think a single one of them is old enough to be a woman yet. I thought about burning all of it, although I didn't feel right about that either. But it would be poetic in a way. Ashes to ashes, right? I don't think I can tell my younger siblings at all. They'll just be disgusted. I've considered that maybe I should be honest with them and show them what I found so that they aren't so shocked or alone like me. If I hide it, they never have to suffer. But if they find out anyways, they'll never forgive me for lying to them about their mother being our sister.